Play. Sorry, I hope the noise on my side is not bothering anybody. There is some construction work happening, so there's constantly some banging happening around the area. So I hope it's not too much. Great. So welcome everybody. We're gonna start our session today. Really appreciate everyone that has actually come today and on in good time. Really appreciate that. And because of that, we're going to start bang on time as well. So my name is Reema, and I am the founder and CEO of Ardy Marketing. And what we do is we help other organizations with their marketing needs. Some of our specialty is reputation marketing, video marketing, display ads. We help with websites. We help with strategy. We help with auditing, a market audit, if you want to know how to move forward in terms of campaigns and stuff. We're able to help you out with that. So that's a bit of a glimpse in terms of who RD Marketing is. And then we've got our partner, which is My Biz Marketer, and we'll tell you a little bit about herself.
So hi, everybody. My name is Eunice Nyandat, the founder of MBM Africa, which is a parent company of My Biz Marketer, which is a full service marketing company that we provide go-to-market strategy, product management for startups, but we also work with small businesses and established brands. So welcome to Customer Development and Acquisition webinar.
Super. So let's just dive in into this. So what is customer development and acquisition, right? Everyone's basically asking about what it is. A lot of questions we had. Some people know exactly what that is, what is development, what is acquisition, but just a bit of a glimpse in terms of how we work around this is customer development would probably be in your startup phase. So we've got a few people over here like Carol who wants to get into business. So you want to start developing your customers, and then acquisition is how you get your customers, right? So how do you attract them and then convert them? So we're going to talk through a few of these things today, and I think it's important to know that without our customers, we are not a business, right? We can have a name, we can have branding, we can have colors, we can have everything, a product or service, but if people are not buying it, means that there's something amiss, right? So we need to understand who our target, who our customers are, who our target market is, who are the segments, all of that stuff before we are able to say that, yes, we're a business. No business, no sales, no business, right? So let's get into it. Eunice?
So here's a table of content. So this is explains the content we're going to be covering, the stages of our customer, the stages of customer development, the markets, acquisition, how to reach them, what to know, what to focus on, and the tools to which you're going to need to use, and then we conclude. Well, 25% to 40% of your total revenue of any stable business comes from. I can't believe I'm messing this up. As you can read this, believe you me, and this is a lesson I'm still learning, having been in business this many years, is that revenue comes, most of our revenue comes from the customers we already have and not the customers we're trying to acquire. 25% to 40% is pretty high number, right? So think about this. We're always trying to reach customers, new customers, where we're not trying to upsell to the customers we already have. So think about this, guys. The customers you already have on hand, don't ignore them. Try and drive more sales to them, sell more to them. And somebody said here, they're independent insurance company, insurance rep. They should try and sell more products. So if you sold them car insurance, could you sell them home insurance, life insurance, something else, so that you're getting more repeat sales from them? Because it's easier to sell those existing customers than to to acquire a new one, right? So I'd say this. Most of us are ignoring those existing customers, but look at those numbers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
So, in other words, like what we're talking about, without customers, we don't have a business. So, who are your ideal customers, right? Who are they? Not about what we call spraying and praying. You can't just say, okay, let me just do an ad, Nairobi wide or Kenya wide or whatever, and then say, hope somebody likes it. So we've got to understand who our ideal customers are and what are their needs. It's more, and I've like it's pretty interesting to know, like it's not the requirements but the needs that you've got to understand. And Henry Ford comes to mind, where he said that if I had asked my customers what would they need, what would they like, and they were like, I want a faster horse, but then their need was to get to a location faster, so that was their need, and hence the car came along, sort of thing. What are their needs vis-a-vis what are their requirements? You've got to understand what they are, what are their pain points, and what are their challenges. What features do they want, so what is it, something like I want to communicate, so that's a need, and that's a feature that you can create now, whether it's a chat feature or an email feature. What channels can be used to reach them? So here's the thing about customers is that you would have certain customers that you'll be able to easily reach through different channels. It could be channels like online, which is like, for example, Facebook. There's some on Twitter. They're avid Twitter users, so you can find them there, or they're on Instagram, or if it's a younger crowd, you want to look at TikTok. If it's business, you want to look at LinkedIn. So things of that sort, right? How do you reach your customers? What is the channel that you can reach them on? It could be a networking event, it could be an exhibition. What are those channels that you can be able to reach your clients with? And what methods can we use to maintain customer growth? Remember, customer growth is not just getting new customers, it's also retaining your existing customers, right? So you've got your retention of existing customers, new customers coming in. That's growth. Okay.
So customer stages. If you're a startup and you've created a new product that people have never seen, never experienced, don't know how to use, then you have going to go through the stages where you have to go discover who the customer for your product is. And the discovery of your customer is going out and showing people this product. Remember when the first phones came out? People have never experienced a physical cell phone, and you want to explain to people how it works. They used to a phone that is attached to a cable next to a wall. Now you're telling them they can walk around with this device and make a phone call, and it's not attached to any wires. They're very, people are skeptical. How is this going to work? There's no wire connected to it, right? So you had to explain to people how this is going to work. So you explain the features, how it works. You can call people from anywhere. Hey, people get excited, but hey, it's a bulky thing. Look at how this humongous things. How do I carry it? Where do I put it? Can't put it in my pocket. And then now I have to carry a briefcase to carry this. Fast cell phone was a big, huge, bulky thing, right? So people will start to complain, hi, it's nice, but it doesn't carry charge, it's cumbersome, all sorts of excuses, it's expensive. So the customer discovery journey was a tough one. So you go on improving it, and then you come up with one little device like this that people now like. Then now you have to keep improving it to keep people buying it, right? And now, because people are used to buying their cell phones, you're constantly improving it, adding features, drive space, or camera features, whatever, so that whoever likes the camera, wants to use the phone for a camera, then that's what they're buying it for. So this is the things you do to discover who your customer base is. So the iPhone is, sorry about that. The iPhone then, or the phone that you use, is then fit, uh, created to what you want. So you're going to go to buy a phone that has what you want in it, right? Once that customer buys, they've now validated your product. That's customer validation. Once they've bought once, they validated that you've got a good product. But if they don't buy again, then it says, yeah, they made this maybe not something right. But if they do, then you're now creating a customer. You've now created demand that people are coming back and buying. Consider what Tesla's doing. Consider what Apple's doing when they get you buying a new iPhone every year it comes out, or when they get you buying, when people get you buying their products over and over again, they've created a customer. With that becomes then creation of a company. You go from making thousands to making tens of thousands, to making hundreds of thousands, to making millions, right? So when you start out at a creation of a product to creation of a company, is you want to make sure you're selling. So once you create that product, please get out of the office. Try and get those customers to buy, and they buy again and again and again. So that's the process, the searching of the customer and the execution of selling, right? If you're in a business where it's existing, insurance, restaurant, businesses that have existed in forever, so it's not something you have to validate again, then you're trying to get customers. You're in the customer creation space. So you do not have to discover, you're going to have to create repeatable business. All right?
Yeah, and so it's important to actually have maybe a unique selling point, for example,
Yes.
your customer creation. Why would they,
Yes.
for example, go to a particular insurance broker and not another one?
Exactly.
Why would they go to a particular restaurant and not another one? Why would they go to one particular online store and not another one? So there's something
Mm-hmm.
that you need to stand out, and there's something that you need to create with that. So which brings us to, what is customer development, right? Your value proposition. What is it that, what kind of product are you solving? What is the solution that you're providing, right? What are the benefits? What is the need that they have? And how are you creating that? So your value proposition starts from there, right? So again, if it's an existing market that you have, then what is it that you're standing out from? How are you giving that value to that client so that you can increase your market share, right? Because remember, if it's an existing business, means that you're cutting into an already existing market. So you want to have that market share for yourself, right? So what is the value proposition there? Then you want to customer segment. Okay, so this is where you now understand your customers better. So it's not a, because my business is this is one kind of customer that I have. Maybe not. Maybe different products that you have different segmentation or different kinds of niche customers, right? You've got to understand who they are by asking questions. So when you're in the startup phase, you want to ask as many questions as possible in terms of how to understand, like how to bring that product to somebody. It could be tweaking it or modifying it. Modifying something actually makes a difference, because then you've actually understand the need of the customer. I have a phone, but then what is it that Samsung has that iPhone doesn't have? Why would I buy that? Right? There's something that happened in the segmentation that then the Samsung players or the Samsung brand then were able to get into that particular market and get a share of that market, right? So you have to understand your customer in that way. Of course, you've got your general stuff, which is your geography, your demographics, what environment they are, what are the other interests they are, get into the typical customer that you have. Then what channels can you get them through, right? How can you get that product to the customer, and how can you communicate to the customer, right? So those are the channels that you need to figure out. What are the resources that you need? Okay, so for example, you'll need, maybe it is a startup capital so that you can actually develop your product, but it could also be that you need some sort of support in terms of mentoring. right? What sort of resource do you need? Sometimes you have all the answers, but all you need is somebody to like guide you or coach you. So maybe that's the resource you need. Or you particularly need like a particular machine, or whatever it is. Business cards, right? Business cards are an asset.
Mhm.
So what kind of other resources do you need for that?
Yeah.
Then what are the revenue streams? Okay, how does your company profit? At the end of the day, if you don't profit, you won't be able to move forward. Yeah, remember, you need repeat customers, right? Repeat customers is what actually will be able to grow your business. On one hand, there's the revenue stream, and on the other hand, there's costs. So how much cost do you need for development or staying afloat, right? So those are the two main things that you have in terms of pricing. But then the other things you need to think about is customer relationship. How do you obtain, keep, and grow your customers? Remember, again, I'll reiterate, is that growth doesn't happen only with new customers. Growth happens when you retain your existing customers and then you get new customers. All right. So partnerships, do you really need partnerships? For example, the questions you need to ask,
Yeah.
or what are the benefits if you do get a partnership? And partnership can also be your strong suppliers, right?
Yes.
So you create a partnership with your suppliers such that you have an existing stream of something that you can help you with your business going forward, right? And then what are the activities that you need most to get to realize your plan? Is it going to an exhibition? Is it going to do some cold calling? Is it now warm calling, which is like getting to your customers? What are the activities that you need to get to those customers, right? So that's really important to sort of understand, right? So discovering your client, when you discover your client, especially when you're a startup, you've got to walk out of your building. What do we mean by that? You need to go to this ideal customer that you've put in your mind to speak to them. You talk to them, you sit down and say, hey, open ended questions about what are your challenges, what are your pain points, and then stop and listen. It's not about selling. You're not going to sell what you're doing. You're going to listen so that you can discover what are your customers like. So you have a projection, right? So you've got a projection in your mind that this is my ideal customer. Here's the amazing bit of it. Sometimes this is where you pivot or you change. You go out there and you realize that is not the customer. Your ideal customer that you had in mind is not the one that is there who needs your product or your service. So then now you start coming back and then doing your segmentation again to understand your target market a little bit better. So the customer discovery is about testing your assumptions. Your assumption or your projection was this is the ideal customer. You went and you sat down with them, you had an open conversation, they talked, you listened, and you're like, oh, let me see, maybe this is not it, right? But you're not there to sell on that. Okay.
So customer validation, repeatable sales, we keep talking about this. And for you startups, or you when you start or you when you started out, those first buyers, those first people, like Martin, you're asking when you've got a new product and you get a paying customer and they're buying, but they're not so sure it's a product they wanted. They're buying to maybe humor you, they may be buying to just try it out, and they try it out and they love it. They become your evangelists, and they're probably going to go talking to everybody and anybody. Hey, listen, I bought this thing, but you won't believe what it can do, blah, 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 blah. And honestly, they get you other customers. They're what we call evangelists. They're early adopters. They go out and talk about the features about your product or the best things about your services. And in fact, they're what you call the word of mouth negotiators for you. They are the ones doing the grassroots marketing for you without your knowledge, right? So you want that, right? And you want to reward those guys to keep talking about your products, give them discounts so that they keep buying and upgrading to the new features, so that they keep talking about your product, so they keep repeat sales happening, and that they keep that product growing for you. And then that leads to your growing of your business, or actually growing of your product and growth of your customer base. And that customer base grows it grows the number of evangelists that you then have. And this is a sweet spot everybody struggles to get. Because if I had 3, 4, 5 people ranting and raving about MBM Africa or my biz marketer, I'd be a happy person. Because it's hard to talk about sounding like you're self-promoting, and it doesn't look good. But when somebody else is promoting you, it feels good because it's authentic. It's somebody else saying good things about your product because they've used it and they feel good about it. All right. So you want those early adopters and evangelists talking about your products. So get out of the building, get your products and services in the hands of these guys so that they are able to validate your products out in the masses to grow your business. Nina, we have some polls. I'd like to run one poll before we go to customer creation. Number 1 and 2.
We've got the poll in front of us. It's amazing.
Well, the poll's running. I'll give you a crazy story about a product you wouldn't believe was created and does amazing and you wouldn't think had value. Halloween is a big deal in Europe, US, and every year in October, people dress up to participate in Halloween. Now, Dracula and his crazy teeth. So people make these fake teeth. There's a company that makes fake teeth, and guys put them on and go around on Halloween and other costume parties to do whatever they need to do to be part of this event. Now, this company, you wouldn't believe, does $40 million in sales, selling fake teeth. And the biggest customer is the other shocker. It's policemen.
Wow. Who would
Shocker,
have thought?
right?
Yeah, who would have thought?
Who would have thought? The story of like, why are policemen buying fake teeth? Now, if we made the teeth, we're the company making the teeth, would they have been on our target market? No, would have been kids want fake teeth so that they can play Dracula or witches or whatever, but not cops. Just so you know. So go out, talk to people. You will never know who your target customer is or your evangelists.
True, very true.
Yeah.
You wanted to run the second poll?
Yes, please.
There you go.
Unfortunately, I can't see them on my side, but just if it is anything out of them that you want to talk about, please do.
Yeah, we've got a lot more startups actually.
Fantastic. Congratulations, everybody, for starting up in this difficult time. Really, congratulations.
And we've got a few SMEs in here as well.
Yeah, congratulations to everybody. It's a tough time right now.
Yeah, it is pretty tough, but it's really good to. I think one of the things that I tell people is shifting your mindset.
Yep.
You say that it's tough and we can't do anything and it's going to be difficult. Guess what's going to happen? You'll get more of just that. But if you have your prosperity as a mindset, right, that you can grow, you can make business, you can get the money comes easy. It's actually a change is a shift in a mindset, and it is definitely possible to have that. So
And in fact, some of the biggest businesses that have ever come out during the worst recessions in the world. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for your feedback.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, let's move forward. Customer creation. Go for it.
All right. So customer creation. So we've asked you guys to get out of the houses. We're working from home, right? Get out of the building. If you're in the office, you're brave enough to go to the office. Get out and go meet your customers, whether you're an SME or a startup. But we can't sit behind the desk and wait for our customers to come to us, right? So go out, talk to customers, attend more conferences, network, right? Do anything and everything possible. If you're not on LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn. Make a point to reach out to at least 5 people a day. If you want reaching out to anybody a day, reach out to 2. I don't want to give you a body a shock because, oh my God, I have to talk to 5 people. Start with 2. I'll talk to 2 people who I don't know every day so that I can see if I can grow to 5. And then from 5, I'll go to 10, right? Make a list, go on LinkedIn and say, if I'm an insurance person selling insurance or finance products, or we've got a restaurant and we sell this amazing chapatis, or we sell these amazing dishes, and we know we've got a bunch of foodie people writing about foodies, about food, reach out to those bloggers, let them write about you. You're writing about, you're selling insurance, reach out, write something on your website about insurance and why this is important. Then reach out to people on LinkedIn to read or even comment on your blog post. And that gives you exposure to other people, and then talk to them about insurance. And it comes from the stance of you're not selling them, but educating them, because selling sometimes puts people off, right? So, and then if you're entering another new market, this is one way of entering a market. You're entering a market by educating that space about what you got. What you got to offer, instead of, hey, I sell insurance, can I get you life insurance and this and that. Educate. Did you know that? Give them stats. Did you know that families are being left destitute because of people not having a basic insurance cover? Simply educate. You'll be surprised. And this comes in any stance. Even us guys, when we're doing this marketing webinars, we're educating you so that you know what you need to do to get your customers. We're not selling you, we're educating you. So go ahead and do that. Position yourself in a way that gets you visibility. So if you're attending conferences, participating in as a speaker in a panel, having a booth in a conference, and even when there are conferences and they have virtual networking opportunities, get in there and talk to people, chat with people. Like we have a chat here, engage with people, say hi, get to know who's here, what they do, right? Go ahead, do it. If you've got a new product, launch, do a virtual launch, go on IG, go live and talk and just record yourself talk about your product and your launch and tell people what it's about. Demonstrate your product so people get to see you and get to know your product. Every day you can talk about a different feature about your product. Everything that you have, if it's insurance products and you've got a bunch of insurance products, every day do a different IG presentation of your product. If it's you've got an app, create mini videos about that app that you have, then what it does for people, what it can do for a certain target group. That way people get to know you and get to, because people buy from people they like, they get to feel like they know you because they're seeing you on IG or on Facebook or on TikTok or wherever. They connect with you and they buy from you because they feel now they know you, more like they know that they understand the product, but they know you, right? So this is how you create customers. Then they start to buy from you because they're beginning to trust you, and they're beginning to trust the product. And they now know that you're not going anywhere, right? So this is how you do it. So carve out a segment, go after it. If you're going after the policemen, you're going after the teachers, and the teachers need to buy life insurance, or they need to have financial vehicles to support themselves, because after they're retired, they're left and allowed, they have nothing to support themselves after that. Go after them, teach them, tell them how to prepare themselves for the eventualities. Do that. If you're a startup, you've created a product people don't understand they are going to need, tell them why they're going to need it. All right.
Right. And once you've done all of this is when you build your company, right? Like I said, there's no company if you don't have customers. So it's important to understand who your customers are, discover who they are, create them, validate your product or your service. Once people start buying, and once they start continuously buying from you, that's when you're building your company. And how do you build your company? Some of the things that you can do is through, like, how do you manage your company? A CRM would be helpful, because then that way you have how many are your leads, how many are your actual conversions. So conversion means someone actually bought from you. So that's now from a lead to like the bot. So it's a conversion. What is that? What is your reports? How many people are purchasing from you every day or every month or every week, whatever that is. So you have a portal. Make sure that you keep them engaged, which is like sending out an email or an SMS. You know, how do you actually get to them? So here's the thing. Sometimes a customer is not ready to buy right now. Doesn't mean that that customer is not your customer. So that's when you put them into your database, okay, your list, if you will. You're building your customer list, and now send them an email, engage them, right? Give them information. It doesn't have to promotion. So what we normally do is when we're doing a promotion, or we want sales, we run a campaign and say sales now, sales now. But sometimes what you need to do is just create the brand awareness. And like what Eunice was saying, is create the trust that you are the person you're saying that you are, by doing something for them, right? It's not always about give, give, give. You also have to give to them, right? So it's not just receiving, but also giving. So that's all about building your company. And sales will come, because obviously there's different ways of doing this as well, but you've got to maintain those records. Record keeping is super important. I'm learning as in my business as well. Record keeping is super important. So you also don't drop the ball on your customers, right? Who is your customers? What do they want? How do they want it? Are you checking up on them all the time? How are you checking up on them? And that's how the CRM, the customer relationship management tool, can help you out with that. And it could be any kind of tool, to be honest, right? But we've just given a suggestion on that, and you can do a bit of research on that. But this is how you plan your life out. And remember what Eunice said. Sometimes what you need to do is just start with a list and say, hey, I'm going to contact 2 or 3 people today, and then set up a meeting. And then don't go selling to them, go educating them. And once you build that trust, they will purchase from you, right? Um, what are the things that I would think about when, one, you're starting up your business, or two, when you're going into a new market? Okay, so it could be an existing market, but then it's a new product that you want to enter into a new market. Like for you, it's new because you sell in Nairobi, but now you want to sell in Kisumu, or you want to sell in Nakuru, or wherever it is. So you've got to do something what we call market sizing, right? So we're not going to delve into it, but please do note it down and go into a bit of research in terms of market sizing. So market size um, is basically explaining to you that everyone is not your customer, right? What is basically telling you is that here in Nairobi, I've got X number of people living here in Nairobi. However, my product is specifically for the elderly people, all right? Or it's specifically for the youngsters, or it's specifically for young teenagers, right? So then you start bringing it down and narrowing it down to what's your share or addressable market, right? Once you have an addressable market, then you now narrow it down further to what is your share of market, right? In your share of market, it will be a percentage of that serviceable market. So you've got, like, for example, 100,000 people in a particular locality. That is your total addressable market. Serviceable market will be less than that because now you've narrowed it down to teenagers. And then from there, because there may be other people or other players or other competitors in the market, what is your share of it, right? And then that share is can now be grown. You can start with maybe a 0.01%, then you move to 5%, then you move to 10%, but that's how you grow your share of market, right? So are there presently customers who want the highest performance? There's a question that I've got Jessica asking over here, which is, how do you get your customers to understand that you can't reduce the price, you can't lower the price, raw materials, you can't tell them to take it or leave it? Well, things are, chances are that maybe that is not your ideal customer, number one. Number two, you've got to understand what's your customers doing as well. It's kind of what we do in marketing, like the pricing and the competitor analysis. But if you look at your customers,
Hi, Reema, we got cut off.
sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm saying that chances are that this is probably not your ideal customer if they're asking you to reduce the pricing, because if you look in the market, like what is the pricing in the market as well, your competitor analysis, what we call in marketing, then you'll be able to see in terms of pricing, like where you at vis-a-vis other people. Are you lower? Are you higher? Are you the same? Price wars never win, to be honest,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
need to figure out what is your one unique selling point, and two, then you start saying, listen, you know what? This is the benefit that you'd get out of getting my product. And like I said, consider maybe the person that's actually asking you to lower the price is not your target audience, right? So then now go back to the drawing board and discover who is that customer of yours, who is that ideal customer. And we've gone through the customer discovery, so maybe just do a little bit of that to move it forward, right? Is there at the present moment a scalable business model? So you be able to tap into existing scalable business models to go through, or you could have a completely new model. So Eunice and I were just discussing that right now with this day and age, because we're washing our hands so much, we need hand soap, right? So there's a model of business someone has not thought about. So the model of business currently is you go into a supermarket or a shop and buy your soap. But the new business model could even be that someone actually delivers to you. And that's actually just soaps and it's on a subscription basis. So then someone's coming to
Yep.
say that, hey, by the way, every month I'll check up on you. How many do you need? But then otherwise, month on month, I'm going to give you these and I'll deliver directly at your doorstep so you don't have to go and buy it anywhere else,
Yep.
right? So I mean that's a model that probably is has been used in a different way in a different sort of
Industry.
industry, but not
Yeah.
in this particular industry. So you can
Right.
actually then adopt it, for example. Okay,
Right.
something to think about. And then is there a defensible and unfair advantage keyword which help you compete against that? So I just said keyword, it's the unique selling point. You've
Yeah.
got to establish your unique selling point as you're moving into a market, especially like when we talked about restaurants. Why would one go to one restaurant and the other and they're on the same street, right? Why would I go to this one versus this one? So think about that. Maybe this one actually provides to you an ambiance that actually makes more sense to you, or this other one is because people are price sensitive, or is it because they have, like, the food that I want is African food and not Chinese food, but what is it that you have as a unique selling point? That's important to know, right?
Right.
So
So we are stressing your customer. Why? Because gosh, you've heard the statement, customer is king. and people are like always asking, why do we say customer is king? Are you getting it now? Do you see why customer is king? Because without the customer, we don't have a business. Honestly, if we make customer the main focus of our business, then making sure that they're happy, making sure we're retaining them, making sure we keep attracting more customers, then we have a business. Then we have money in the bank, we have money in our pockets, we can continue surviving, we can maintain our families. We are happy, and money is not everything, but we can be comfortable, right? Then we can absolutely unequivocally say we have a business. But without that, without making this customer happy, without trying to retain them, then we're not in business, really not in business. So honestly, the business is not achieved overnight. So don't think that you get up today and start a business and in 1 month you've got a business. No. In Apple started how many years ago in this whatever, and they're still working at it. They're still developing products. So just know that every day is work you're working at creating customers. Apple is still working on it. Google is still working on it, right? So we are still working on it. So you're going to still be working on it. And if we are true to ourselves and want to leave legacies, we're going to leave businesses that our families will keep working on it, right? So 3 factors, right? Attract more customers, keep them happy, and retain them, right? Customer is king.
Yeah.
So I've got this circle here, which we call virtuous circle, and I call it a vicious circle, but it's a circle that you got to maintain. Once you get this right, you've got that value proposition, and you've nailed it to where the customer connects with it and understands this people get me and they are out to make sure I get the value that I need. Then you acquire your customer, and then you get the customer experience right. So when they buy from you, you've made them happy, they're buying from you, their customer experience is like they come buying from you, they're treated right, you respond to them emails or their phone calls as soon as they need to be responded to. You're making sure that experience is that customer, if even when they're unhappy, you're responding to them. Even when they submit a feedback on your website, poor service, blah, 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 you respond back to them. You are making sure that experience is consistent, it's concise, and it's that you are not dropping the ball. Even when, and not that it doesn't happen, when it does happen, you actually, with transparency, respond back to your customer and make it right. And making it right doesn't mean that you drop your prices or you send them something free. It's just making sure you correct and educate the customer and try and figure out an amicable way to equalize or to make the customer whole, right? Sometimes a customer will come in and say, hey, I bought a product and it was broken. And you if you can replace the product because of what that customer will say on your site that would make sure that you keep getting customers, as opposed to what they will say on your site that makes you lose customers, right? So that customer will wind up giving you the share of the wallet. The share of the wallet means the revenue that keeps coming because of the type of customer experience your customers keep getting, right? So, and that builds customer loyalty. And again, rinse and repeat. And that's what that vicious circle is for. So remember your target audience, the statement and the opportunity you're giving them, and then your product and what that product delivers, and the benefits that the benefits that it gives to your customers, and keep improving that and this experience that the customer gets when you're delivering this service. All right, keep that circle in your mind. So when you're interacting with your customers, ask yourself, are you giving this vicious circle experience to your customer? Are they getting it? And if it's somewhere that it's broken, what can you do to fix it? All right.
Yep. So you've got through the cycle and you want to figure out how you can reach your customers. Obviously, there's so many different ways of doing this. One, which is the warm leads, and then the cold leads or cold calls, if you will.
Yeah.
Your cold calls are basically um, your ads that you run, like for example, social media ads. That's actually still cold calling. Or you pick up the phone and literally call somebody that you don't know.
Yeah.
That's a cold call. Or you walk into an office and say, hey, you don't know this person, but you want to go and speak to them, right? So that's some ways of doing it. Email marketing is a great way to actually build your database. There's something what we call a lead magnet. So when you're actually doing something like this, where you're doing an ad, for example, you start giving them something that they can go away with, like a cheat sheet or something that can be able to attract them to you because that's something that they need, and they can download it for an email address, right? So then you get that email address and you put that into your database. Best way to actually grow your database is through this that. Of course, there's other things, your social media marketing, which is kind of linked together in some way or the other. SMSs are great. Search engine optimization. Be findable, meaning that you could create a website, and then after that, when clients are searching for you, so they're searching for digital marketing agencies in Kisumu, and then they don't find you. They don't find you on the page one, they don't find you on page two. What will they do? They will actually inquire from the people that are on the first or second page. So you've got to optimize your websites so that you can be able to be findable, right? In different ways as well. There are other backlinks and things of that sort that you can do, but search engine optimization is very important. Of course, creating the awareness of your brand, having a good brand reputation. So, which is some of the things that we do in terms of reputation marketing, which is leveraging your existing customers to get new customers, right? So, again, if you have any questions on that, please feel free to just reach out to me and I will be able to answer that for you. But the ideal way of doing that is not through testimonials, but through reviews. Testimonials are a hearsay. What you're saying is that my customer said this and I'm telling you, versus a review, which is your customers are actually saying it and other potential customers can see what they're saying, right? Very, very strong, powerful way of reaching your potential or new customers. Of course, there's offline activities that you can do right now because of the fact that we're in a really precarious situation. Very little of the physical activities are happening. So then, but there are ways of actually doing it, which is word of mouth, referrals. Those are also really, really good and powerful ways of actually reaching new customers, right? So, of course, we've got the cycle, which is a very simple cycle, which is you reach your customers, you make the first contact, or they reach you for that matter. And here's the amazing part: the first contact you make with a customer is not even them picking the call and calling you. It could be how they heard about you. So a friend talked about you or something like that, or they seen your ad or something like that. So that's the first contact you've made with your potential customer. So that's a reach. Okay. So that's your visibility that you're creating. Acquiring the customer is the next step to it, right? Your potential customer needs to get into your funnel. So how do you acquire that customer? They see your potential, they see your brand, they see what you're providing to them, then they come and make an inquiry. All right, so that's part of the acquisition the process, right? So they make an inquiry, they start, you put them into that database funnel of sending out SMSs and emails and things of that sort, or running ads to those warm leads. And then finally your conversion is when the customer actually pays, right? So that's pretty simple cycle to go through in terms of acquisition.
So maybe explain a little bit of the acquisition. I'm going to a deeper dive on the acquisition process, which is, you're attracting total strangers, right? And total strangers who are going to buy your products. So they're strangers, they know nothing about your products, or services, and you want them to consider your products and services. And first of all, where have they found you? Is it online? Have they met you in person? Is it on Facebook, Instagram? Where have they met you? Where are they first interacting with your products or services? Consider that. And then they become visitors, right? So they're visitors either on your social, if that's online, they're visitors. If it's in person, then now you're interacting with them and are now physically educating them. It's a trade show or conference, then you're talking to them. Because of this pandemic era where we're all virtual now, it's either through a webinar here or a conference online, or something that you're either talking to them via chat or WhatsApp, something like that. Then you are now either text messaging, SMS, or whatever. So then they express interest in various ways, in that, hey, interesting, I like your products, that's interesting, I'd like to know more. That becomes a lead, but they've not bought yet. So now you either have a name and a number, or name or email, or if they've come to your website, you now know there's a user who came to your website, and if you've got analytics, you can see how many times they come to your site, and if you're tracking them all the way to your CRM, then they are coming from a certain company, or they're coming from a certain whatever they're coming from, how many times they visited, and that shows the interest. The number of times they keep coming to your site shows the interest. If you've got an e-commerce site and they're looking at a certain outfit, or they're looking at a certain tool, or they're looking at, you sell soaps, or you sell tools, or you sell kids games, or whatever it is you're selling, they've looked at that item several times. That shows an interest. Some of them are going to go as far as putting it in the cart, but they're not purchasing it. That just shows a lead. The minute they become a customer is when they click to buy, or when they request a quote, or when they request a meeting. They're about to become a customer. They convert when they buy. So that's the acquisition process, right? So how you calculate your customer acquisition costs is through the cost of that sale, cost of marketing, and the number of customers acquired. That gives you the cost of acquiring. And you always want to try and drive that cost down. So for example, cost of sales is what it took you to participate in the webinar. If we charged for this webinar, you calculate that cost. If it took fuel to go to a conference, you paid for the conference, and then you met that customer and they bought that, all that's cost. The marketing, if you did any marketing, add all that up, and at the end of the month, and all the customers you got, and then that becomes your customer acquisition cost. And you want to keep a tally of this cost month over month over month over month, and just ask yourself, if I'm selling a product for X, and I'm acquiring them at X, is it worth it? So for example, I'm selling a kid's game for 100 shillings, but it costs me 200 shillings to acquire this customer. Is it worth it? So you want to drive the customer acquisition cost down so that it's profitable for you to sell that kid's game. So that's a number to be aware of. All right. Next slide. So conversions come on when the customer converts, that means buys from you. And Reema mentioned the funnel. The funnel looks like something like this. It's that awareness. The awareness is when they meet you, they come to your website, they heart your something on Instagram, or like your something on Facebook. Now they're aware. They know about you, they know about your products, they know about your services, and they show interest when they come back and keep coming back. That's interest. There's something about you they like. They keep coming back. Consideration is when they actually ask for a quote, a meeting, put something in the cart and they want to buy, and converting is when they buy. And sometimes there are those who take longer. And Reema mentioned this, that they may be showing interest and take longer to buy. Do not lose these people. You hang on to them. there's a guy who called, I think it's Gary V, who says, these people are customers to me until they're dead. So you keep reaching out to them. You may spread out the outreach, maybe month of a month. Hey, we've got a sale coming up next month. We've got kids games. We're going to sell this at 50% off or 20% off next month. We saw you're interested in the Scrabble or what this or that, and we thought you might be interested. Boom. Just keep sending them something. Or you're going to be somewhere and you think they're gonna you want them to meet with you. Hey, I'm gonna be out in your area. Do you wanna meet? Boom. So always be reaching out to them. You never know when they're going to convert. Sometimes it's about the right time. When it could be a tough month, they put a dress on the cart and they just didn't have the money to buy. So the dress stays on the cart. Next month, send them, hey, that dress is still available. Do you still want it? Just remind them. So keep the conversation going. All right. You never know when they're going to convert. Next.
Sorry about that.
No worries. I wrapped up.
Okay, great. So your customer is really important. What kind of customer it is. You can read through this yourself, but you've got your loyal customers. Remember what Eunice called like evangelists or early evangelists. They totally have bought into what product and service you have, and they are the ones you'll be able to like get more business from. One, because you can upsell to them. Two, because they then refer other people to you as well. So then now you start growing your business just from the referrals of your existing customers as well. Then you've got your discount customers. All they want is to come to your store, and they'll only come to your store when you have a discount or a markdown, right? Then you've got the impulse customers, which is I just want to, you just came to the store and they're like, oh, okay, this looks nice. Let me just buy it. Not necessarily somebody, that will probably buy again. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But a lot of times it's just one of those, whoops, I just want this and I'm gone. Then there's need based. Because they have a need, they'll come to a particular store to actually find out about it. If they have a great experience, they like you, they like your product, they'll be able to purchase, and very likely they can become your loyal customer as well. And then there's the wandering ones. They don't even know. They're you're in the mall, you're wandering around, then they come to your store and then they're like, oh, this was really nice. Someone talked to them nicely. They're like, let me buy. Actually, that happened to me. I'm not even joking. I was at South Beach Shopping Center. I was a wandering customer and I was looking for something else. But this lady who was selling hair bands talked to me nicely and she's like, who are you looking for? And I told them I was looking for this, and she showed me where it was. And I came back again and I was like, I'm looking for this, and she showed me where it was. It was such a nice, lovely, warm feeling that I had. I didn't want to buy, and I bought something from her just because of that. So I was a wondering customer, which is really interesting. But yes, know your customers and who they are is very important.
Yep.
Okay. So, how do you define your customers? Again, different ways of doing this. But the most important part of it, and I want to understand, is one, what is their need? Remember, I talked about need. What does a customer need? And that's what you're focusing on. Educate them, leave them feeling like they trust you, right? If they don't want to buy at that particular moment, it's okay. Be professional about it.
Yep.
Don't be like, oh my God, they don't like me, nah, nah, nah. It's sometimes not anything about that, but go there to make a difference for your customer. If you have a product or service, make sure that you have that in mind, that the idea is to make sure that you're actually creating that relationship. Creating the relationship is when you'll be able to sell to them eventually, if
Yeah.
not right now. And here's the other thing: you've created a relationship and they'll never buy from you, but hey, guess what they'll do? They'll refer two, three, four, or five people your way who will actually purchase from you. Again, a relationship that has been managed and that's been fruitful as well. So making sure that you focus on the customer is a very important part of building your relationship, or building your business as well, right? Your customer is right in the middle of it all.
Yep. Customer focus. Let's talk about this. the only way to keep the customer focus on is having the tools so that you don't drop the ball. And the way to do this is having a CRM tool that's customer relationship management, and it manages your marketing, your sales, your support, and your feedback. And there's so many tools out there. We had a webinar that we talked about tools to manage your business. We'll share the link to that webinar later. And it tells, we highlight some of the free tools on CRM, and we can share that so that you can pick one if you don't have one. But you want one so that you manage that customer experience, so that you don't drop the ball, and then you keep on top of those leads that are, that they're warming up, they're warming slowly, they're one day to buy, right? You don't want to give up, that one's not going to buy. No, they're going to buy. It's just not the right time. Just give them time. So this tool helps you keep your customer data, their email, their phone number, because you can't remember everything, but it will help you figure out when this person came into town and all that. All right. So then you can figure out, they came into the database in January. Let me send them an email in Feb. I'll skip March, I'll try again in April, that kind of thing. And then it helps you improve service and keep track of your profitability. All right. So we've got this diagram here that talks about the customer life cycle and the customer process. And Reema will have that in full screen for me to explain. Here's why it's important, because it shows you how we reach acquisition and conversion works, and then translates over to our CRM. And that's in essence, really, it's the processes that go into the business building. Because if you're a startup and you want to build a company, you have to understand, once that product is built, you have to build processes and around the product to get a company built, to get that minimum viable company standing up. And then it becomes a complete viable company. And then you're an SME. See, the structures of an SME already, if you are running a restaurant, you know what is needed for the operations of a restaurant. For the startup, it's brand new, it's never been done before. So you have to figure out what processes you're going to need around that. That's why you need to do this. All right, next slide, Reema.
Yep.
Here's the customer focus in a snapshot. If you want to take a picture of that, so you stick it somewhere on your wall. Remember this. And in conclusion, value your customer, increase your sales. Word of mouth is important.
Yeah, pretty much. Word of mouth is very, very, it's one of the best ways of actually getting customers, right?
Yes.
Increasing profits is also important, but the important thing is customer focus, of course. So what Sam Walton says, there's only one boss, the consumer.
Yeah. Yep.
You can everybody in the company, from the chairman on down, simply by spending his money somewhere else.
Yes.
Right? Your competitors are an important part of your business, because you've got to understand, how do you stand out from that competition, and customers pick you and not them, which is why reviews are important. And I love one of the questions that was asked over here. What is the difference between testimonials and reviews?
Yes.
Testimonials are hearsay. They wrote you an email, or they wrote somewhere else and they said, they said what they said. You could have come up with it. You could have just said, oh, Eunice said ABCD. She loves me, and she thinks that I'm the world. But in essence, if she didn't say it somewhere else on public property, like on my Google My Business or my Facebook, then doesn't make any difference, right? It's actually, I said, it's a hearsay.
It's easy.
And then a lot of, between men and women, when they're courting, they'll sell that to their friends. They'll say that's still part of marketing as well. They're like, yeah, this girl said that she likes me, right?
She likes you.
She likes me, right? So your greatest asset, of course, is your customer. So treat your customers really well.
Yeah,
That's why
please
we
do.
put them right in the middle of our business, right in the middle of our business, right?
Yeah.
So we're concluded basically. Just before we leave, we wanted to, no, we're not leaving, sorry. But just before we conclude, I wanted to let you guys know that we do have a monthly Q&A session, which we call Coffee Chat. And it's happening on the 8th of April at 1 p.m., which is your lunchtime. So you can call it lunch chat, or you can bring a coffee. A lot of people don't have lunch at this particular time. And we talk about for an hour your questions. We're answering all your questions. We'll be live. So feel free to just join in for that. I know that our team will be able to send you this link as well, to tell you, to just, register for this as well, right? But
Yep.
would like to
Yep.
thank you for actually coming here and being here with us. We really appreciate it, and for giving us this opportunity to give to you something of value. So I hope it actually has helped you. And
Yep.
having said that, Eunice, can we go through some of these questions that people have?
Yes. 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 We do
All right.
have a bunch of
So,
questions.
how do you convince
Uh,
customer to lower? I've already answered that question. How best do you market a product or service that is for children? I love that question.
can I
I,
take that question?
yeah, sure, sure.
So remember this, that you probably want to make sure the kids like it, and then they're bugging their parents for it, right? But then you also want to have messaging for their parents. So the parents have to see their value. But then once the kids get it and want it, they are now inundating their parents with, mommy, I want this, and I like this, right? So you've got a battle in that you have to convince to customers. You're convincing the parent and you're convincing the child, because if the parent is the purchaser and the kid is the user, right? But if the kid doesn't like it, the parent will say, yeah, I'll buy this for my kid, and the kid doesn't use it. The review then becomes that, I bought this screen for the kid, but the kid never used it. Not a good review to have on your site, right? But now, if the kids use it and are going gangbusters, remember the kids get to talking, and now kids have devices and they will share messages, and word of mouth spreads upon the kids, and the kids talk to their parents demanding, can I play with you? Can I get this? Can I get this? And the parents start to talk, my child's demanding this, or begging for this. What is your thought? Parents start to talk to each other about it. And hey, I bought it. My kids loves it and they use it and I think it's valuable. So you're convincing too. So before you do, you probably want to make sure the kids love it.
Mm.
You want to make sure the kids love it before you convince the purchaser.
I think it's still part of the customer discovery part, especially if it's
Yes.
a new product.
Yeah.
Get kids, take a prototype to parents and ask the kids to play with it or use it, or
Yep.
how to
Yes.
feel it. Put them into a bunch of like different other play items. For example, I don't know what the item is, but I'm
Yeah.
just guessing. And then if they pick it and then use it and then they're really enjoying it, that
Yep.
that's a good product.
Yep.
If you give them a choice, and they've picked not they didn't pick your product, then you try to figure out why and what's happening.
Yep.
But here's the amazing part, and I love this about, like, there's that store for Toys R Us, I think it was Toys R Us.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was in malls where if a child passes by there, they will pull the parent to go in,
Yes, absolutely.
and the parent has to go in,
Yeah.
then then they will not come out without purchasing something as well, right? So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, this is a weird part, right? One, you have to have it attracted to the child, of course.
Yeah.
And the second part is, what is the benefit to the parent? Sometimes what happens is, because you're doing social media marketing and something like that, and you're doing ads online, kids are not probably there at that time, obviously, because they don't have their own, profile or anything. But then if they see a child similar to theirs wearing a particular outfit, they will go and buy it because they feel like my child would look amazing like that too. Let
Yeah.
me go and buy
True.
that,
Yeah.
right? And the whole thing about reviews as well is so important. and the review says my child loves it,
Yeah.
uh, and that's it. Because as if there's more 5-star reviews about a particular product, the parent will, be convinced to purchase it as well, right? it,
Yeah.
it's phenomenal.
Absolutely. And if it's a new product too, and you're trying to get buy-in from both parents and child and kids, probably you want to hang out where kids and parents are, go with the product, go to play areas and just go hang out, interact with kids, interact with parents, see what their reaction is. You may want to even give out a few products to parents and just ask that once, if I give you this product to try, you please write an honest review on my website or on the Play Store, whatever the product is, so that then you're at least getting feedback on it, or if they're writing you back, and then you get some feedback, and then you can solicit a review later. That way you're doing customer discovery, you're developing a customer, and then going on to customer discovery and customer creation.
Yeah. Actually, feedback is super important. Any
Yes.
sort of issue is just that. I would actually probably go back to how do you last minute customers. Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
Customers who are always in a rush and don't request service in time.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds like a Kenyan thing. We're all last minuters, Eunice, aren't we?
Yeah.
It's such like, I think having an open communication about what are the timelines for getting something done is very important from the start. I will not be able to stress enough of it. Communicating with your client and saying, don't give them false hope. Tell them, yes, you want to come on board right now, but realistically we're not able to do something until 2 days or 3 days because of X, Y, and Z. Not we're not giving you an excuse, but it's just the way the process works as well, because we need to understand what your needs are, whatever it is that you want, but communicate it openly and right from the start. Don't give a false hope that say, yeah, I can do it by this afternoon, and then you don't. You'd rather tell them that I can give it to you by tomorrow, and then you give it by this afternoon, that's fine, right? But it's important to actually be very open about communication with your customers right from the start. Eunice, do you have
Or
anything else to add to that?
I would charge a last minute fee, and it's always been your contract to say, yeah, oh, you want that, you're aware about our last minute fee. And and not kidding aside, there are companies that charge time and material. You show up with something, a customer shows up with something last minute. You say, oh, we're happy to do that. Thank you, Mr. Customer. Very happy to do that for you. But because of the time you're requesting for this to be done, it's a time constraint. Our staff is already left, or whatever it is. This is going to be at an extra cost. Are you okay with that?
Hmm.
You'll be surprised to say, oh, well, you don't have to rush. You can give it to me back in 5-4 days. You happily see how quickly they backtrack that into it. We don't need it right away. You could get it to us next week.
It's okay, yeah.
It's okay.
But here's the other reasons why you'd probably want to charge a last minute fee is because of the time and resources you have to put into it.
Exactly.
Double your time and double your effort to make sure that you deliver for your customer. So that's
Yes.
it's plausible for that,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Okay, so there's another question here. Speak on the go-to-market strategies for startups, customer discovery, lead, and conversion. Actually, that's all we've been talking about today. Is
Exactly.
go-to-market strategy for customer discovery, lead, and conversions.
Get out of the building.
So it's fine. Here's the thing. If there's something that you didn't get from it, I would suggest that either way, we're going to be able to send you the recording for this.
Yeah.
Go through that. If again, it's still unclear, please, reach out to us. I've got the email addresses over here. We're able to give you a 30-minute free consultation.
Yes,
grab onto it.
absolutely.
There's a free consultation with me or with Eunice. Pick
Yep.
it up. It'll be on the email with you anyway, right? So
Absolutely.
okay, so another question is, I'm built environment. I'm in the built environment in an architectural firm in Nairobi as a business development manager. Customer acquisition and development has continued to be a major challenge. Can imagine. This is because we heavily depend on past clients, networking, and referrals. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm not seeing the question in here, to be honest, but
It's getting new customers, I guess.
yeah, probably getting new customers. Okay.
I want to say one thing I know about the challenge of professional services is is going online, and we don't know what your firms are able to do because you're not able to advertise because of Kenya's laws of advertising, right? But it doesn't stop you guys from blogging, from vlogging, from doing tutorials on trends and stuff. So customer acquisition then becomes through educating instead of advertising. So excite, educate, entertain. So all those E's that get you new customers. So if I'm a new, considering I'm trying to build something in Kisumu, I'd be a customer. And if you had YouTube videos or Instagram videos on how to get into new construction and how to build your own new home, whether you're a $1 million shilling budget or 100 million shilling budget, those are all content stuff you could be creating that would develop new business for you and create a nice little pipeline. Because if my project starts next year, I'm in your pipeline. So you can check me off of this. Eunice's project starts next year. She may be writing us a check next year. Somebody else may come in and the check starts next week. So you've got a pipeline of business waiting for you. So you've got to explore a way of getting visibility around your business beyond your existing customers who probably give you great word of mouth, but they're probably just telling people that already know about you. So it becomes a very intimate circle. They already know about you. So you want to reach out even further. All right. So get online, get visibility, and you probably have a website, optimize it, do analytics so you see who's coming to your site so that you're catering to that audience. Reema, you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I really love that because then you can create like a community around it as well. So people are,
Mm-hmm.
like for example, the stuff that you've done before,
Yeah.
take angle pictures and things of that,
Yes.
make it fun. Who else has gone
Yeah.
to that particular, building that you've created or made, and then use hashtags, so do some research on what kind of hashtags that people follow.
Yeah.
So if you're part of those hashtags and you come up in searches.
Yeah.
Great way of actually getting organic reach without doing particular ads. Because I know such service firms, you're not able to do ads, which is okay, but you can still be able to do like organic marketing with keyword searches, right? So
Yeah.
keywords, both on social, on Twitter, on Instagram, even on LinkedIn. You'll be surprised there are people in there that will be able to, be able to get you or find you, right? And then the
Yeah.
other thing is interacting with different social circles. So
Yep.
circles where people are talking about development, people are
Yep.
talking about construction, people are talking about other architectural firms. Those are somewhere where your clients are also being part of the conversation, be that part of those conversations online,
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
um, and that will that bringing your visibility as a business as well, right? So that's,
Absolutely.
and this is actually not just for architectural firms, but also other businesses. You can do the same thing,
Yeah. Medical practices, law firms, accounting firms, all those professional services that struggle because they can't advertise. We need for them to go think outside the box and educate us on what they do via blogging, vlogging, and use the internet the way it's supposed to. If we've got 12-year-olds making millions just talking about what they're doing at home, why can't you talk about what you're doing at work and educate us so we can go tap into your services, right?
Right, right. I think we've got a couple more questions.
Sure.
How do you price your products in terms of markup after factoring in all costs? By Kathy.
I do a formula of percentage is you do 15, 20, depending on what by the way, you've evaluated what the market is able to pay, as well as what your competitors are doing. So you're also evaluating that. So for example, if I've got an expensive shampoo, it's organic, I've made it out of expensive essential oils. So I've evaluated that cost. What is my target audience able to pay? So I price it just about that mark where they know they are able to pay, and then price it slightly up by 10%, so that when I want to do a discount, I can do it comfortably without affecting my bottom line.
Yeah. But yeah, what you're saying is, make sure that you also know what your competitors are doing and what your target market is, so that you'll be
Yeah,
able then figure out the markup. So it's not just a random 15% or 25%
yes,
or 30%.
exactly. Yeah,
But just think about what the market is also, and what your clients are willing to pay for it as well, right?
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then also, where are you positioning your brand? So if you're
Yes.
positioning your brand as a cheap item, then you'll have to make sure that your item is somewhere around that area as well. Again, the same formula that we've talked about. But if you're it's like, for example, Toyota versus Mercedes, right? The way the Mercedes is positioned is very different from the way Toyota is positioned, so obviously the pricing will be different as well, and people understand that, and they will still love to buy a Mercedes or love to buy a Toyota. So you've
Yeah.
got both clients right there in the market share. Okay.
Yeah.
Final question. Joy Kabuga says, is when you focus on brand building, how do we do that? Right.
Right. Oh, brand building is a lot of things, right? Brand building is recognizing what your promise to the world is, what your product promises, right? So, and then what you want the world to see you as, and then how you show up as, right? So think about how Apple shows up as, think about how Coca-Cola shows up as, and then think about Mercedes. All those are the brands that have managed to keep a brand and maintain it for years and years. They've promised to be that, and they've continued to be it, right? If it's Apple, it's what their quality or whatever. If it's Mercedes, the same thing. So what do you want to show up at? What do you want people to always think and say about your brand when you're not there? What is that? So when you think about that, then keep showing up as that all the time and always deliver on that. And then for that brand stickiness to appear, always position yourself that way, right? So if you're doing things, it's company events, you're dressed as and acting as that brand and doing things. If one of the promises is that you're going to be good to nature, you're going to be part of climate solutions, you're always part of climate activities, and your brand shows up for climate things, right? So for example, your company will never be caught with plastic paper or something like that, or you'll never be cost wasting paper, something like that. So your brand stays true to what it says it is. So just I think about how you want to be thought of. I say MBM, we want to be techie, we want to be bold, but we also want to be creative. We recognize that women entrepreneurs are paramountly going to be the folks that build the world. And so we support women entrepreneurs. So every activity we do, we are always encouraging women entrepreneurship. So you'll find us doing boot camps or accelerators that support women, hackathons and such. So we try that, we do that, and we live it. That's what the MBM brand is. So think about what you want your brand to be and live it.
Yeah, pretty
Reema?
much. Yeah, I think that's you've got it right on the head. Also, whatever your mission is, that's what you live. Whatever your values are, that's what you live. And portray that out there. whether it's your content, whichever content it is, and what you do as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Jess asking, how do you get a client to give you feedback even after you have requested for a feedback? What do you do if they ignore your request? Okay, so it's an interesting one, Jessica.
Yes.
There are clients who may never give you feedback. It is what it is, to be
Yeah.
honest, right? But if you make the feedback giving very easy, like opt in very easy. Like for example, the solution that we have is client you just have to tell the client it'll take less than a minute,
Yeah.
and they're more willing to do that
Yeah.
than give you like a lengthy survey, for example.
Yeah.
So if you give them a lengthy survey, they'll be like, oh, no, no way, no, that's as soon as they hear the word survey, they'll be like checking out,
Oh,
literally.
gone. Shoot, gone.
Gone, right? But if you
Yeah.
tell them, hey, could you please give me a review or give me feedback, and it'll take less than a minute, we've found that customers feel very happy to do that, right? And so again, you'll have a percentage of your customers responding to that and giving you feedback, but that's just what it is. Unfortunately, Jess, there are people who will probably never do that. But if you uh, actively ask for feedback, and they don't have to directly give it to you, and they give it to like a system or somewhere else, chances are they'll be able to give you a feedback, and especially if it's negative.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that we don't want to be we don't want to hurt other people or we don't want to be like standoffish, if you will, right? So if you give them another space, here it is, don't even give it to me, here's a link, send your feedback. Chances are they will send the feedback there because they don't think they're giving it to you as Jessica. So they'll be able to give their heart out, like they'll say, no, this is what happened, I can't believe it, and whatever it is, right? And then the only thing is that you want to protect your reputation, so you don't want it to go online. So figure out like a solution or a platform like the one that we have, where negative feedback doesn't go online, and so that you can protect your reputation but still get the feedback, because feedback is important so that you can improve your processes. You can also like retain a customer, so that's a chance for you to retain a customer. If they give you feedback and it's negative, means that you're able to pick up the phone and say, I didn't know this, I'm so sorry, what happened, can I help you, can I resolve it? Resolve a client, they know that you care for them, chances are that you actually retain that client, right? Remember that growth of a company is new customers as well as retaining existing customers. So that's a great strategy to actively get feedback from clients. But yeah, so that's what we've found in our trade.
Yeah.
So Wanjiku has asked, is it a good idea to offer one free service or product at the beginning of a relationship with a potential client? Does it make you look cheap? Okay, so let me see. It depends on how it is. Is it like a loss leader? So if it is a loss leader, then you can say that you're providing something so that you can get something. So for example, you can say, okay, fine. You know what? Let me give you a free, like mm, an article, because I know that Wanjiku does the copywriting. You can say, look, I can give you a one half a pager or something like that, right? To like 150 words, something for you to look at, right? And then you can see from there if it's anything worth for you. You can use it. You don't want to use it, that's fine as well, right? So it could be a loss leader to get the customer in, and it could also be like a lead magnet. You say something like a loss leader can also be that I'm giving you this, but you need to give me 3 referrals, because also that can help you, right? So then that way you've done something, but then you've also gotten like other leads, if you will, right? So your client then gives you certain leads and stuff. So it's not a bad idea. It's the way you actually look at it as well. So if you look at it as a loss leader, it's a great way of actually gaining new potential clients, contacts, for example. Or it can now bring you that relationship as you're starting the relationship. But there's a lot of different products even online. You'll see like Mailchimp and stuff. We call it freemium, right? So you get the free service, you try and use it. Now if you want to grow bigger or increase more items to it, then you start paying for it, right? So they are, there are services and products out there that are freemium, which starts with free and then you start paying for it later on, right? So it is something that you can try and do. It's a way of attracting clients to experience your products or your services,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Quick comment on the freemium. And the challenge has been that freemium has always been difficult for startup world to convert to premium, right? So be very strategic on how you integrate freemium, right? So you're giving this much of freemium so that you know the key benefits that the customers or the users would want, they'll have to pay for, So if you're giving away storage, you're giving away 550 megs, but if you want 1 gig, you have to pay, right? So that forces them to roll over and convert to a user who pays. Otherwise, you're always going to be stuck with free users who will never pay for anything. So be very, very strategic how you use the freemium model. And in services, and especially consulting services, get in a free consulting, but really be careful how much you do those, or how often you do those, because you'll be forever in free consulting mode.
Pretty much. That's actually a good point.
Yeah.
And I think the children's question was Linda Wanjiru's question.
Yes.
She says that the company is called Open, and we offer financial literacy training to 4 to 18-year-olds. Wow.
Brilliant, Linda. Linda, if you want to talk, I'd love to talk to you about this.
Yeah, that sounds super amazing.
Yeah.
And start with children young, for sure.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's needed, absolutely.
I absolutely love that. That is phenomenal,
There's a question from Joy. What level of participation is required for campaigns to work?
Mhm.
It's not, well, there's participation and then there's the campaign strategy, right? So if your campaign to begin with starting with the audience versus creative versus, so did you get that work done first? And then the participation of the campaign, really it's for you to see how that's working. Are you getting the numbers? Is it working? Should you pause it and rework it again? So I think if you get the work done in the beginning, make sure you have the right audience. And I'm assuming this is social media campaigns, marketing campaigns, all that. Am I right, Joy? Let me know.
You can unmute yourself if you want, Joy.
If it's still here.
Yeah.
Yes. You're right.
Is that you, Joy? Yay.
Hello, can you hear
Hello,
me?
Joy. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're correct. That's what I was referring to. Like, just in broad, it was when I was asking, I wasn't asking in any specific dimension, but is there any relationship between the level of participation of the employees who are supposed to do a campaign and the success of the campaign itself?
Okay. So true to what I was saying, right? If the work done, say, for example, did we have the target market right? So we have a campaign. Say, for example, let's use Linda's business as the idea. We want to reach parents who have kids between 4 and 18, right? And we want them to purchase this product of financial literacy and buy into it, right? So we have to make sure we've got the audience right? Do we know where these parents are? Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, and do we know what financial situation they're in? Do we understand their lifestyles? Who can afford this product, right? So we understand and segment that audience properly, and so that we're buying the ads, or we're making sure the campaign's positioning is in the right place. For example, I could put a YouTube ad on YouTube and position it on Nation, on Standard, and then be surprised that nobody actually sees it, because some of the parents who would want to buy literacy for these kids don't read the Nation or Standard, the digital version, right? Or are not on YouTube because, hey, they're farmers who they're busy in the farms, they're not on YouTube, right? But if I'd shared this campaign on WhatsApp, it would have, they're constantly communicating with friends and family on WhatsApp, somebody would have forwarded it and they would have seen it. And maybe seen it on Facebook because they've got Facebook prayer groups and all that good stuff. So we have to figure out audience and then the position of the campaign. So the level of involvement really depends on first the groundwork we put in. So we could have campaign and then it goes nowhere because we did not do the great groundwork.
Thank you. I understood.
Okay.
Right. And Joy, did I understand it? You're also asking participation of your employees as well?
You could answer that too.
Yeah.
I did hear the word employee at some point, but look, it could help for sure, because your employees are supposed to be your first customer, right?
Yeah.
Because if they don't have a buy-in into what your product and service is, then
Yep.
it really it means that they're just like mark timing over there, right? You want them to be part of the entire thing. You want them to believe that is this product is going to make a difference for your customers, right? So that's really important. And of course, them sharing it on their networks and stuff will definitely help. Sharing it on their like WhatsApp status as well. WhatsApp status is a really good place, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
It is. It
Very,
is.
very nice space.
It is.
Put your stuff in there. People do see it. People do spend some time, going through people's statuses and stuff. So if you have something in there, that's really good. But yes, employees should have a buy-in, and if they participate, that's a great thing, because then some of the ways they can participate is you can send them an e-signature and tell them, please put this e-signature on your email, so that when you're sending out an email during this campaign period, whether it's 6 weeks or 1 month or whatever it is, they can be able to use that. And so they're interacting with suppliers, they're interacting with other people, get to also see about it as well, right? So great way of actually doing that for sure. Their participation, their buy-in is very important. But yeah, I mean, campaigns is great, and once you have your target audience, brought in for you, you've understood them properly, you've understood your target, you'll be easily able to do like your campaigns both online and offline, right? Offline would be like for the children's thing, close to a bookstore or something like that, or a uniform store, and then just start interacting with children over there, parents of children over there. That should be helpful. um, I think there's one more point that I wanted to make, when it's just fizzled out of my mind right now. But yes, both online and offline in terms of campaigns is very important to do something. Yeah, so think about it in that way, so that people can interact with your product or your service. Okay. But having said that, we really, really are so grateful to everybody for being here, for interacting, for asking the questions. Please feel free to reach out to us. We're really happy to help in any way possible. If you want to know about
Yes.
any of the stuff that we've talked about right now, we're happy to do that. But yes, thank you so much for coming, guys. And I think we'll call it a day, because I know that
Yes.
people need to either get home or do something, but
If you have any more questions, come participate in the chat where you can hang out, ask more questions, particularly to your business, and take 10 minutes of your time and just come hang out.
there you go. The Q&A. Yeah, we've got a Q&A on the 8th of April. So if you did miss out, we're going to be helpful.
Bring those questions, right?
Great. Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a blessed day. Stay safe.
Yes, we will share the recording. If we have your email addresses, we'll definitely share that. Thanks, everyone. Thanks so much for coming.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye, everybody.